Welcome to Thez Nutz Garage, and today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be inspecting the leaf springs in our 1978 F350. And the reason why I'm going to be doing this is because I want to make sure that these leaf springs aren't broke or cracked before I go putting them back on our frame, so that way later on I don't have any problems with these leaf springs. So let's get started with the inspection. Alright, so on the 1978 F350 that I have, it has two kind of sets of springs. The main spring here on the bottom is the main leaf spring, and then this smaller one is a helper spring. Now when I got to inspecting these, I've noticed that these are, I guess there's some sort of a retaining bracket that keeps all the springs compressed and these springs from coming down. Well, they're kind of twisted pretty bad, as you can tell on both sides, and I don't see any cracks in the leaf springs themselves, and I think you can actually replace these, cut them off, and then there's some sort of bracket that you can put on them. But I know this truck was a farm truck. It did pull cotton trailers, and it had a lot of pressure on it here and there pulling those trailers, so this kind of concerns me. And then this right here, the smaller one, is basically a helper spring, and as you can tell, the little, I'm gonna call them brackets, if you know what they are, comment down below. But they seem to be in pretty good shape. But this one here, these both are twisted pretty bad. So on the floor here, I actually have one torn apart, and anytime you take these springs apart, you need to use some sort of way to clamp them. I have a big C-clamp there, so when you remove the bolt that's in it, right there, when you remove that nut, that they don't shoot apart, and make sure you're not standing in the direction that they might shoot apart. With the C-clamp, what you can do is tighten it up with that, remove this bolt, well, it's actually on this side, this bolt here, and then you can slowly take the pressure off of that spring with that C-clamp. So, talking about the driver's side, as you can tell, I've already taken it apart. It has some smaller, I'm gonna call them brackets, on both sides at the top. And then as you come down through here, it's supposed to have another set that was holding it together, but that one is completely broken off on both sides. And then this one is broken off on one side. Now, I don't believe I'm going to reuse these. What I was going to do in this video was going to clean them up and get ready to repaint them. So that way, when I get my frame back from the hydroblasters, where it's being hydroblasted, I will be able to start putting my leaf springs back on. Now, with the shackles we have right here, if I order a new set of springs, what that's going to do for me is I can also upgrade the weight of the truck. I don't know, I think the factory springs here are about 2,400 pounds. If I order a new set, I can upgrade it to about 3,200 pounds. And I probably think I'm going to do that, so that way if I need to haul something a little bit bigger later on, that I'll be able to. But with the new springs, there's the shackle on this spring here, but the new springs that come in will have new bushings in them, so I don't have to worry about replacing this bushing or the bushing that's on that side. But what I will have to do is, if I reuse these shackles, or even if I order new ones, I will have to press this bushing out of this shackle. The shackle looks okay, so I think about what I may do is have those also cleaned up, so that way I can reuse my factory shackles there. And I am going to reuse the helper springs. I'm just going to clean them up, roughly just kind of sand them down with a grinding wheel, put some Rust-oleum on them, and put some good primer on them, and then paint them with a black flat paint. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start cleaning up this little helper spring real quick and get that ready to put some rust dissolver or rust converter on it and get it ready to primer and paint. Alright, so what I have here are my leaf springs, my helper springs. What I've done is I've just put some basic Ajax or Dawn dish soap right directly on them. I have a bucket of soapy water and just kind of like a little abrasive pad. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scrub these leaf springs and get as much dirt off as I possibly can, because what you've seen in that little time-lapse video is mostly dirt. And what I want to do is get all of that off of here before I put any rust resolver on here. And what that's going to do is any rust that's on it, it's going to dissolve it up and I get rid of it. And then after they dry, I'm going to spray on some rust converter. So in case there is any rust that I missed, that will convert that rust to a paintable surface. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and finish cleaning these up and get these ready for our rust resolver. Alrighty, so now what I have is this rust dissolver, and this is a gel formula. Before I've used the spray formula where it just sprays on, but this is some sort of gel. So what I'm going to do is just kind of squirt it all over it, and I'll have to go back with a brush and kind of smear it around on everything. I think I like the spray better, but we'll see how this works. So what I'm going to do is get all this coated up and get this gel smeared around all over these leaf springs, and we'll see how much rust it takes off. I think you have to let this sit for about 30 minutes after you apply it. So after 30 minutes we'll come back and see what it's done. So now what I'm doing is I'm using this can of Rust-oleum rust reformer, and what I was using earlier was a Rust-oleum rust resolver, and what that other gel did was it resolved the rust. And this is what the leaf spring looks like after I've cleaned it with that gel. It's gotten most of the rust off, you can see on the spring. And what I've done on the other spring is I have sprayed some of this rust resolver, or excuse me, rust reformer right there on this spring. And what I'm going to do is continue to paint both of these springs, get them a good coat on both of them on both sides. All right, so now I have the rust reformer sprayed on these two helper springs. What I'm going to do now is spray this Rust-oleum Professional High Performance Enamel. It's high performance. It's going to give me at least, I don't know, 10-15 more horsepower in this truck. So we're going to spray that on these helper springs, and this is supposed to be a really good enamel. And when I get the other springs in, what I'll do is I'll paint scuff them up, clean them up, and then paint them with this enamel spray so the black all matches. And I'm gonna paint all of my suspension parts in this black. So real quick, I was just going to give an update of what I'm doing. This is the cab of the truck. You can tell I basically have it completely stripped down as far as it's being ready to go into the get hydroblasted. So I've been kind of testing with some paint. This is an original or New Holland blue, like would be on a tractor. Kind of debating with that color, maybe a coastal highway blue from Eastwood. And then the guy at the paint shop said he was going to, or gave me the idea of maybe a Viper blue. So I haven't really made up my mind on the color blue, but I do know I'm going with the blue. And the undercab protected, I'm gonna run up through here, cover all the back of the firewall in it. This upper piece right here will all be blue to match the truck. So it's ready to go. I'm just waiting to take it there when I get a chance, and they're not behind. So that's the cab, and the frame is still the same. Like I said, I'm waiting to take it over and drop it off. But I'm hoping to have that in the hydroblasting done towards the end of the month, into July. I'll probably take my frame over there first and then take the cab. So I'm letting these helper springs dry. You can see that I did use a matte black on them, so they were turning out pretty good. You know, they're just going to be under the truck, nobody will ever see them, and I just wanted to get them good and protected so they didn't get any more rust on them. All right, so what we did today was on our 1978 F350 was we repainted our helper springs and we inspected our main leaf springs. And as you could tell in the video, our main leaf springs did have some broken brackets, and I'm choosing to go ahead and order new leaf springs for the truck, probably in new shackles, and all those all come with new bushings, so I don't have to worry about installing any bushings in those. But with this build, this is a off-the-frame restoration of a pickup truck. I know it's not a supercar build, and it's not something that we do within a couple of months, and there's a few reasons for that. One is time. I work on this on my spare time when I'm off of work, and also money. I have to save up money to do these small projects as I build this. And probably when I started this build, my intention was to just get this truck running. And as I tore it apart, I started wanting to fix more stuff the right way, get it back up to as new or even better than this truck was built new. So that's taken quite a bit of time. And what my plan is as I've done in the past, I've done a few projects on the side, and in the future I have some other projects that I want to be able to do. But in order to do that, we need to grow our channel. I think here recently we got 100 subscribers, so thank y'all for subscribing to the channel. Every subscriber counts. But over the future, when we get this done, I want to get into some other stuff. But like I said, we have to get this channel to grow. So how can you support Thez Nutz Garage? Well, like this video, and also subscribe to the channel. And after you subscribe to the channel, go over there and hit that little bell. And what that will allow YouTube to do is notify you as soon as we upload a new video. And also comment. Some of you may be working on a truck like this. You've had a truck like this. Maybe you're just you have a question about redoing a truck like this. And trust me, this is my first time ever doing one from the ground up. So I've got it all torn apart, and I'm hoping I can remember how to put it back together. So if you got any questions on that, just comment that down below. And also share it on Facebook. This may interest you, and then we have some other videos that we've done that may interest somebody else. So share our channel and our videos on YouTube. I would greatly appreciate it. And y'all have a blessed day.